So there's been some development with the tariff situation in the United States imposed by the United States president, which does affect worldwide trade. This is exciting news for the Nintendo Switch 2 and people who are looking forward to the Nintendo Switch 2. And I did use some charged lingo in the title and thumbnail, intentionally so. I want to meet more people who are interested and are keeping up with this stuff because I think that this community is growing. There's a lot to look at, and given some of the reactions on my live stream earlier this morning when I was playing Mario Kart, there are people looking for a place to call home when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 and content around it that are not looking for a negative spin, but more of a positive spin. And so I don't want to deceive you and make you think like this is going to be me like going crazy and ripping anybody a new one. This is going to be a positive spin. And so if you're looking for that, great. If you're not, this is your like easy way out. Like you can leave. I'm not going to be ripping anyone new to shreds. I am going to be talking about how I think that Nintendo was able to ask for these prices and expect consumers to just be okay with it, because I do believe that there is something there, and it's not just like, we can just throw arbitrary numbers out there. But before that, the news. What did we find out? Well, we found out that there is actually going to be a pause. Yes, a pause on the tariffs imposed. This big, huge thing. Now, there is an increase in tariffs as of like breaking news. Like right now, it's still in development, actually, to China. That's increased. And we're not going to go into the politics of all this. But why am I bringing up tariffs on a channel that focuses on video games primarily? Well, I'm not bringing it up to talk about what's right or wrong about this whole situation. I'm bringing it up because this does directly impact the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, which we have all been eagerly awaiting since the discussion of it earlier this year and the reveal of it just a week ago. Now, what is so special about this tariff adjustment? Well, it means that anything that is currently here, anything that is going to be shipped here, and anything that may be sold here in the North American region, because we're the only ones waiting at this point. Pre-orders have released and have gone out already for other places in the world, not the United States. The United States is a small part of the world. But we are waiting in the United States and in Canada. So us in North America are still waiting to get any sort of information around the Nintendo Switch 2 situation and when we're going to be able to get at least an opportunity to reserve one to play come June 5th. And so this is great news. The pause, 90-day pause, it seems like there is still a slight increase, like a small tariff to 10%, I think is what I was reading, but I could be even mistaken in that. The biggest thing is these huge numbers that we saw released just days ago are on pause, or that was started on April 2nd. The United States Liberation Day, as it was advertised, is now on pause. So now that we talked about that, what does that mean for Nintendo? It seems like the prices that they have already listed were ones that were not because of the tariffs. So it doesn't mean that now that we know that the tariffs are going to be dropped for 90 days, they're going to be lowering their prices. I don't think that's going to be the case. Just like how when people talk about, hey, inflation is going to stop, it doesn't necessarily mean that all of a sudden all of the goods are going to come down in price. Those goods will still stay at an expensive rate. Just hopefully we'll be able to afford it because we'll make more money or whatever it may be. So how can Nintendo ask for such exorbitant, is that how it is? Exorbitant prices for something that on launch will be close to current, but quickly thereafter, especially once the Lenovo Legion Go S Steam Edition releases. Actually, it'll already be released. I think it releases in May. So it's already coming out. That's already competition for the Nintendo Switch 2. And very shortly, there's going to be more and more competition exploding against or up with the Nintendo Switch 2. How can they ask for such high prices? There's something special that we see in the gaming world, especially currently. There's a term, a phrase that a lot of people have been using. It's an unbelievable phrase. That unbelievable phrase is the word I cannot believe. Yes, I know, simple. I feel like I've tricked you. How many times have you yourself, if you use a Nintendo Switch or a Steam Deck for that matter, how many times have you yourself said, I cannot believe I get to play this game like this. I cannot believe that I'm playing Elden Ring while I'm sitting on the toilet with my Steam Deck. I can't believe that I'm able to play Marvel Rivals on the Steam Deck. I can't believe these things, right? This feeling of unbelief. I would have never expected there'd be a day when I could do this. These kinds of feelings are because of experience. This experience we're having is one that is very, very unbelievable, right? It's an easy term, but honestly, it's just shocking. And I remember when the Steam Deck launched, and the promise was that you could play PC titles on the go. Now, could you already do that? Yeah, you absolutely could. Not only with handheld PCs, which had already existed, but also with gaming laptops. A little bit cumbersome, not really the best form factor, and honestly, the price point was very, very high. You could still do it. It wasn't impossible. People have been doing this for a while at this point. But the Steam Deck had something special that was bundled into it. It was the idea of ease of use. It was the idea of lowering the barrier of entry to a very accessible, not only price point, but usability. And that in and of itself proved itself to be extremely valuable to a lot of people. So much so that when it launched, it was not super powerful, not by any means, and was very quickly competed against and was surpassed. In fact, there are plenty of devices that would go up against the Steam Deck that would be able to beat it on just about every benchmark. From battery life all the way to performance alone, you can beat the Steam Deck. Now, there's something still pretty spectacular about the Steam Deck, which is what I call the Nintendo Switch effect, and that is the fact that it is underpowered, the least powerful. It does have the highest visual... I don't know, maybe not even that. I mean, the resolution is not even the best, but it has OLED, which is really nice. But it is by far the least capable machine that is on the market when it comes to portable PCs in this space. With the Lenovo Legion Go, with the Go S, with the Asus ROG Ally X, MSI Claw, they are all more capable as devices independently. They have more ports, more USB-C ports. You can use external GPUs. They also are able to run Windows natively. Like, there's a lot going on there, but somehow the Steam Deck still takes the forefront of this whole situation. How does it do that? How can such an underpowered, incapable, can't even run Game Pass, not natively, not easily, how is it so popular? Why is it so popular? And why is it still one of the go-to handheld portable PCs out there that people are still trying to purchase? And often compared to the Nintendo Switch, for that matter. It's because it is easy. It is because it is simple. And while it cannot play big, huge AAA titles at full resolution, I mean, none can, but while it can't, come even close in some ways to certain games, it can't even play certain games, it still has the ability to grab people. And it's that experience. I cannot believe I'm able to, you fill in the blank. And I'm sure there are people that are going to be in the comments and be like, well, I feel that way about the Asus ROG Ally X. And I totally agree with you. It is a spectacular. When I had that device, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. But it was to be expected. This was a portable PC running Windows 11, and I was expecting it to actually run games somewhat better. And if it wouldn't have been able to run games somewhat better, I would have been very disappointed. But I did expect it. In some ways, it did, and in others, it didn't. I mean, Balatro, during Christmas, I was trying to just show somebody the game, and I was stuck in a boot loop, had to restart, had to do this, sign in, sign out. It was a mess. I haven't encountered something of that gravity on my Steam Deck. I have had to do, restarts. It's crashed. It's done that. It's not a perfect device. But that in and of itself just makes it a very simple and quick and easy thing. The Nintendo Switch 1 launched at the end of the PlayStation 4. It was spectacular because of the form factor. The fact that mine isn't set up the way that you would get it in box, but the fact that this itself is able to do what it does gave you that feeling. I mean, we all remember the feeling of Breath of the Wild when we're playing it, and then we're like, I'm going to try it. And we take it out of the dock and play it handheld mode and go, oh my gosh, I'm going to get carpal tunnel because this is the worst controller situation I've ever played in my life, but still I'm able to do this. I will look past the hand cramps to play this game. This is incredible. This is beautiful. This is spectacular. I can't wait to show everybody, right? This was a feeling that a lot of us had. And as the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming to market, it's not offering anything absurdly special. It's a bigger version of the Nintendo Switch 1. It's asking for more money. The games are going to cost more. And it seems on paper, actually, there's a lot going against the Nintendo Switch 2, which there kind of is. But somehow Nintendo, they're not idiots. They're looking at this device and going, well, we're going to charge more money and the games are going to cost more. And how can they do such a thing? Well, it's for those first three words. I can't believe. This, well, I guess it's four if you... No, cannot is actually a full word. So can't is actually just a... Yeah, it's a conjunction for a word that's already a full word. That's weird. At any rate, it's cannot... Is there a space between can and not? Can there be? Or is it always C-A-N-N-O-T? This is a heavy-hitting news. This is bigger than tariffs. This is huge. Huge, as the President of the United States would say. continuing on, the Nintendo Switch 2 hits, and we're seeing better performance, all this, that, and the other. Nothing that's particularly special, though, right? 120 frames per second in handheld. We've seen that with the Asus ROG Ally X. 1080p, we've seen that with the Asus ROG Ally X. $450, we've seen that with the Steam Deck. I mean, these pricing, the performance, all of this isn't anything special. And I know you're like, JD, I thought you said you were going to be positive. Oh, I'm positive I will. But there's something still here that compels the very device in which many angry YouTubers online will call Nintendo fans sycophants and enablers and delusional, out of touch. Those people saying the internet hates Nintendo right now, it will still cause this hated company to sell out within minutes. It'll still cause this hated company to be one of the most highly searched, like it's looked at search. The pre-order is a very, very hot search term in Google Trends. This whole thing is extremely followed. And it's not just because people are following it to hate it. I would suggest that people are following it because they are obsessed with it. There is a yearning, a love, and a complete reckless abandon towards this. And is that appropriate? Did Nintendo condition and groom their audience, as some of the YouTubers might say? And I would say no. No, they didn't. They earned it. And this in and of itself may be a controversial take, and I'm willing and ready. I'm sensitive, so it kind of hurts in the comments when people attack me, but I'm just too passionate about it to let that go unsaid. What I'm noticing is that Nintendo as a company has established a legacy that has to do with experience. We've talked about it before. It's nothing special when it comes to, well, it is a special thing, but it's not a new concept. But as I thought about it and discussed it today on stream, there's something inherently special that is hard to define about this guy. I mean, it's just as easy to say, no, I'm good. I've played one or two of these. I mean, the difference between these two is just size. And realistically, when it comes to Mario games, the difference between the two is just a couple mechanics. They're very rinse, lather, repeat. I've played through Super Mario 1, 2, 3, all of them. 3, World, Odyssey, N64 version. Like all of these, I have played them, and there are very few additional things. They went from 2D to 3D, from 3D to water, from water to galaxy, from galaxy to hats. Like, there's things all over the place, but it's not a big, huge difference in the game. And someone would be like, it's just repetitive. How can they ask? If Nintendo was to come out with Zelda Ocarina of Time Remaster and ask for it $70, the internet would be on fire, but we, as gaming fans of this franchise, would be like, yes, please. Because we, at this point, are having to spend up to $100 on a cartridge, right? So people, them asking for $70 for this title, granted they gave us this version, and then we going out and having to go and buy this version would, it ends up being about the same price. And yes, I like to flex because I'm going to flex right now. Yeah, or this title. And I don't know if it shows on screen, but yeah, dude, it does show on screen. Okay, you get it. You get it. And so when it comes to Nintendo, there is something there called memory, right? And not memory as in like memories, oh, look at these great memories. Because there's plenty of people that have had great memories with Halo, with Gears of War, with some of these big titles, Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, Gran Turismo, Crash Bandicoot. There's plenty of memories to be had across multiple generations of systems, but something that Nintendo has had is its meaning. Right. So with gaming as a whole, Nintendo has made itself into the homes of families. Now, there's an argument that families are being priced out. I'm not going to disagree with that argument. The price point of this stuff is starting to price people out. I mean, I know people who used to purchase organic foods, and now they don't purchase organic foods because the organic market, whether it's a scam or not, has priced out families, right? Pricing people out and their budgets is unfortunate, but it is happening across the board, and it sucks. It sucks. And some people would blame the companies for pricing people out, and others would blame the circumstance. I'm not blaming either. I'm saying that it exists, and it's something that people are having to deal with. I'm not going to diminish the fact that it exists. I will not do that. But what I am saying is that there's something meaningful about Mario. Why is it when I look at that Mario right now, I feel a warmth. I feel a memory of my father. I feel a memory of my mother, my daughter. I look at that Mario and I think of the first time I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie with my best friend. I think about moments in which I played Mario Wonder with my daughter. I am reminded that my daughter right now is currently going through her first experience, real experience, with Mario Kart, playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And I am continuously reminded, because multiple times on stream, I get kicked off because she's playing on my account. Because I only have one copy of the game and they haven't released the digital sharing yet. And so I'm playing a different game, but she's playing. You get the thing? We're not sharing the game right now. And so this is something that is special. I'm not suggesting that those types of feelings can't be had with PlayStation, Xbox, or PC. But what I am suggesting is the reason why a company like Nintendo can ask for these prices and do it with the confidence that people will play is because of that feeling. Now, you can agree or not whether that feeling is you're being taken advantage of. I believe, and I'm of the persuasion, that you can't be taken advantage of is if you look at the situation and are willing to participate in it. No one is forcing me to go out and purchase a Nintendo Switch 2. In fact, all of the games that I haven't played, I can still play on my current Nintendo Switch 1, which is the only one that I have right now because the Switch 2 isn't out yet. It doesn't all of a sudden make these obsolete. What is this, Apple? Shots fired. At any rate, what is happening is there is this uprising in discomfort, which I think is totally justified. It's uncomfortable to be going through the current state of affairs in the world in 2025. It's very uncomfortable. Some are, looking at Nintendo as an aggressor, and I don't think that their feelings are misplaced. I think that those feelings are real. There's something wrong. Something doesn't feel right. Whether they're attaching it to the wrong or right thing, that is a conversation for another time behind closed doors and not on the internet in front of people, 25 people who watch these videos. I'm not going to do that to you. But what I am saying is there is a general discomfort. And why it hurts so much isn't because the pricing structure is so egregious and insulting. It's that the memories, the thought of me looking at Mario, the thought that I cannot experience that in the new generation, and technology tubers as well as influencers have infiltrated the minds of most people and created a really, really dangerous FOMO. And so the fact that the FOMO effect is going to hit exponentially more with this Nintendo Switch 2 than it will with the Nintendo Switch 1 because FOMO has become absurd. I'll give you an example. I was at Trader Joe's, my favorite local grocery store, because I am from Southern California, currently reside in Southern California. I'm from Washington. I am a Sasquatch. Yes, I am a Sasquatch. But not the Sasquatch. There's plenty of us. I am a Sasquatch. That being said, I went to Trader Joe's, where they sell groceries, where you're limited in the state of California. I don't know if this is countrywide. You're limited to 1 carton of eggs a day. Unless you just go to multiple stores and get your carton of eggs, whatever. That's your own, that's my tactic. You're limited to 1 carton of eggs a day. I get to the store at open time. Granted, we're in an economic crisis. People are freaking out. Prices are rising. The internet's on fire. And I see a line from the entry point around the, I'm talking 100, 150 people deep. I'm not exaggerating. It is literally around the corner from the store. This is at 8, I think it's like 8, 10 a.m. Store opened at 8. I'm walking, I'm like, oh, I'm on the phone with my best friend. I'm like, dude, oh gosh, there's a line. I just got to get some sunflower butter because my daughter's school doesn't allow nut butters because of allergies. So sunflower butter's all we got. I got to get it. Oh, gosh, this is annoying. And he's like, what's going on? I'm like, it's eggs. It's the freaking eggs, dude. You can't buy eggs. They're so expensive. It's impossible. There's so much eggs. I walk up to the front. I look at the person at Trader Joe's. I look at her. I said, I just need to buy sunflower butter. I'm not getting eggs. And she's like, oh, you can get eggs. And I was like, wait, what's this line for? She goes, we released some new canvas bags. I'm like, what? Yeah, like little mini bags. I'm like, oh, I already have them. She goes, not these colors. And I was like, what are you talking about? So there are these mini bags. Do I have one here? Do I have mine in here? I do. Okay, they're these small bags, little canvas bags that are little, they're cute. They're lunchbox. Canvas bags. This is a red one because I saw them at the store like 3 months ago, actually during October time. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to get one for me, one for my daughter, one for my wife. There were only 3 colors. So I got red, green, and yellow. I was like, cool. And then I went back the next day and they weren't there anymore. And I was like, oh, interesting. I guess there was only a few. They're those in pastels: pink, blue, purple, and yellow. Pastel colors for Easter. There are people, these colors. These colors. There are people waiting outside at 6 in the morning. And then I went to another Trader Joe's because I had to get something by my wife's work, and they're calling, and like the phone's just going. They're like, dude, people are ravenous. FOMO has ruined society. Dude, the fact that there's people lining up. You can look online on eBay, Trader Joe's bags. It's crazy. This is a grocery store. For those of you in other countries, this is a grocery store. Grocery store. This isn't some special Louis Vuitton. No, this is a grocery store chain in California. And people are freaking out over bags. The FOMO is insane. It's unreal. And so the thought that the very thing that we love, the very thing that a lot of us started on, Nintendo, the very characters, the very franchises that we've grown to adore, shared with our families, shared with our children, shared with our parents, is going to be at a price point that is unfortunately outside of the realm of possibility, given the fact that grocery stores are selling merch now and just stuff is becoming expensive. The fact that this is our life we're in is very, very disheartening. But I would suggest that the reason for that is because of how special it is, because of the memories we have, and how the game itself isn't as much of the memory as the experience in which that game gave us. Experiences are anywhere from expensive to free, but memories are always going to reside in your brain as free. They're free. You have memory banks, you remember them. I was having this conversation on stream, and I said that you can look at a tree outside, and that tree is beautiful. It's inspiring. It's absolutely, like, you just wake up every morning, and you look at the tree, and you're like, I want to live because of this tree. It's not your tree. In fact, it's controlled by the association. You have to pay to keep it upkept. You might have to pay because they do gardening around it, but it's not your tree. It's not your tree. You just get to experience the love and joy that that tree may bring you, right? That inspiration. I think about this because we have a tree like this in our house. It's right above our skylight. It's really great. My wife loves to lay back on the couch and just look at the tree and just like, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful maple tree. It's awesome. But that tree is not yours. But for a moment, that tree may be an experience, creating an experience for you, but it is not yours. This is kind of how I lean into digital games. People are like, you don't own anything. Does that not make it a valuable experience? Does that not make it an experience that is worth having because you do not tangibly own it? I would argue not for the removal of ownership, but I would argue for a mindset shift to look at stuff and be like, where can I experience things at a value proposition that is worth it for me? Is ownership more valuable, or let me rephrase that, is experience more valuable if ownership is tied to it? For some it is. I find myself having a better experience reading my manga by holding it and knowing it's mine than going to a library and reading the same manga. So I am arguing for ownership. I find it less valuable for my digital games, which I am just not really fully owning, right? It's a license. That's the argument. I find it still valuable, but less valuable, right? How am I trying to say this? I don't need to own it for the experience to be as potent, I guess is the best way to put it. For this, I have a hard time renting them, so I own them. For this, I'm okay with the modified renting, which is digital. So I decide to do that and buy digital copies. I have some physical, I have some digital. All Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers, those titles are always digital because I want to always be able to have access to them as quickly as possible. And so that experience, those experiences are things that are all tied to me and my personal way of doing things. But when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 and how things are being executed with the all digital, with this kind of thing going forward, I can understand where people are frustrated. It is a shift from what normally was. It is a red flag in the progress of gaming. It is a complete and utter change to what is normally been a very straightforward experience. Ambiguous pricing structures, prices that are low, high, only digital copies, download codes. All of this is uncharted territory for Nintendo fans because us Nintendo fans have been looking at this with a purity, and it hasn't had to be brought into the current day age of gaming. And now that it is, it kind of makes it feel salty. We're like, what do we do about this? I don't have a practical application here for you. I'm not going to say that you're wrong for feeling a certain way because you're not. If you're upset and you don't like the pricing structure and you're like, I just can't support them anymore, who am I to tell you you're wrong? I'm not going to. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. But what I am going to say is maybe I'm suggesting that the pain that we're feeling, the frustration that we're feeling might be because the thing that we love most, we should say like, but I'm just going to say love because it's the terminology that is pretty well used here. The thing that we love most is now demanding some consideration. Whether or not that's a good thing, that's up to you, but that consideration is, should I continue down doing this? There was a video that was saying that this is a bad thing for marketing, and when you start having to think about it, people might wait. I don't think there's anything wrong with thinking. In fact, my whole channel is built on thinking far too much, and so I encourage the thinking. I think that when you sit down and you go, I'm going to go purchase Donkey Kong Bonanza, or Bonsai. Is it Bonanza? I think it's Bonanza. Maybe let me think about it first, because should I? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Anything wrong with that. I don't think gaming should be predatory. I don't think, and by predatory, should be priced in such a fashion that makes you not think about the purchase that you're doing. I think that is good when you think about purchasing. I think that you should think about purchasing at a much lower price point, maybe even $30, $20. Should I purchase this? Is this a good idea right now? Am I going to play it? I think those are good questions to ask. Is $70, $80 the first way we're going to start doing that? Maybe. Is that a good practice in general? I think so. But, however we arrive on that. I think the Switch 2 in its entirety is actually quite anticipated. I heard from one of the Scream YouTubers that the Switch 2 is the biggest, most hated console that we've seen in generations. And that may be true to him. Algorithms are real, but if we do simple breakdown on numbers, I remember seeing 300,000 or 400,000+ people watching the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, from neighbors of mine, parents, friends, YouTubers, all alike. I remember the pandemonium when every announcement happened. And then I remember the next day during the Treehouse, the bombardment of lower the price, drop the price, being in the 10,000, maybe 15. We're talking about 5%, maybe 4%. I don't know the exact percentages there. Certainly a much lower percentage mark, maybe 3 or 4. I think what we're dealing with here is an unfortunate, loud minority, which they're allowed to be frustrated. Being aggressive about it, not my favorite, but who am I? I know it works. Doesn't work for me, so I'm not going to. But it is a loud minority. For those of you who are excited about the Nintendo Switch 2, and I'm like, I don't know where to place my excitement, you should hold on to it, stay excited. For those of you questioning the pricing structure and being like, I don't know if I can afford this now, good question, keep asking it. You should ask those questions on big purchases. This is a big purchase. Even if it was $300, it's a big purchase. That's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, depending on how many kids you have. That's food. Those are actual decisions you're making instead of responsible. Well, let me rephrase that. It sounds bad. Not responsible. Instead of responsibilities, right? You're put money aside for the hobby instead of putting money in something else. These are things you're doing. Sacrifice, whatever, however you want to put it. Not saying it perfectly. Not caffeinated. I'm a little under the weather. All I'm trying to say is this. It's okay to be excited. And if you're excited, be excited with me here in this space. If you've made it to this part, I feel very encouraged. I want this to be a positive outlook on how we're going to approach Nintendo Switch 2. I'll do my best to cover the news I feel like is worthy of covering. I'm not going to clickbait. I might do a little thing here and there just to get some more eyes on the stream, more eyes in this place. But I'm always going to give you that disclaimer up front that we're going to be positive here. I genuinely want to cultivate a culture around video games that looks on the brighter side, that is excited for things, not blindly following, but we know at this point there is no blindly following. I can barely get through the day without questioning my own existence, let alone blindly following some company to purchase something. For goodness sakes, I almost sold every single Apple piece of hardware that I owned because of some malpractice that was under scrutiny, just to find out that there's nowhere else for me to go because they're all under scrutiny. What am I to do? I have existential crises about all products at all times, every moment of the day. It's not a blind eye to a company, but rather an introspective thought processes on how can I get through this war-torn, hatred-filled world when people are actually trying to hate each other versus trying to love each other. Well, maybe we start with something as simple as playing some more Nintendo games. And so that's what I'm going to do, and I hope to do it with you. So when it comes out, if you get one, sweet, play Mario Kart with me. If you didn't get one, sweet, watch me play Mario Kart and talk to other people about it. But have a good day. Play more, be kind. Where's the stop? There it is. Later.